2024 years after the birth of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, Jennifer Lopez took the world by storm with the release of her studio album, This Is Me, now. And its accompanying visual film, This Is Me, now. A love story. A love story that was Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, the rekindling of the relationship that invented shipping names Benifer. And I've been patiently awaiting for the beginning of her comeback, and I think this is it. See, last year we all had our giggles, and most of us did not see the vision that she had. And I think that she also didn't see the vision that she had. Or maybe she did and we were wrong, okay? I'm ready to admit that I was wrong and that she was a visionary. And I also want to point out that I think there was a mistake in the marketing team. See, I think people thought they were going to see J-Lo in This Is Me Now. And one thing we need to clarify is that J-Lo and Jennifer Lopez are not the same person, okay? J-Lo, that's a pop star. That's Jenny from the block. That's Jennifer's origin story from the streets to the stages. J-Lo, that woman has enemies and those enemies have time. Jennifer Lopez, the actress, don't piss me off. Selena, Anaconda, The Cell, Enough, Made in Manhattan, Monster-in-Law, The Boy Next Door, Second Act, Hustlers, This Is Range, Hilary Duff's This Is What Dreams Are Made Of. She is mi gente latino. She's done a lot except for one thing, a musical, until now. Kiss of the Spider-Woman, a musical drama adaptation of the 1992 stage musical of the same name, itself a musical adaptation of the 1992 Oscar-winning movie of the same name, itself an adaptation of the 1976 novel of the same name. The story has gotten more touch-ups and edits than all the Kardashians combined. So for the purposes of this video, we'll only be looking at the story of the musical of 2025, and I think that's a good thing because the original source material is a lot darker and a lot less happy and joyful. There's no joy. It's like having to sit through a movie starring The Rock and Gal Gadot. And they made that. The story follows two cellmates, Melina, an effeminate queer individual jailed for public indecency, and Valentin, a political dissident, a leftist revolutionary who's being held and tortured for crucial information regarding some upcoming attacks against the dictatorship. Originally, the character of Melina was written as a homosexual man, but they lacked the lexicon to describe different gender identities such as trans or non-binary people. So for all intents and purposes, it seems like Melina was meant to be written as a trans woman.
And I wish that she were me.
So for the purposes of this review, and because the musical adaptation leans more into that nuanced approach rather than the Oscar-winning movie of 1985, which just establishes him as a gay man, this time we enter more uncharted territory and we allow the story to be more than just black and white, gay and straight getting it on. And although the backdrop of this story is very political, the focus is very much the relationship between these two individuals who, in a way, have what the other lacks. Throughout the movie, Melina recounts her favorite Hollywood silver screen musical to Valentin called Kiss of the Spider-Woman, and as the movie progresses, their relationship evolves amid secrets and tensions, misunderstandings, and fear. Blah, blah, blah. Jennifer Lopez plays the main character of this musical, Melina recounts, and she just looks so good. Okay, first of all, whoever was doing those wigs, well fucking done. And I say that as a total non-wig expert. Am I gonna get dragged for this? Like, is that good? That shit's coming off her scalp. I hope it's a wig, or I've just been calling her hair a wig. No, it has to be a wig. She wouldn't go blonde for this look, would she? This is Jennifer Lopez's first musical, and it's not surprising. You know, vocals aren't her strong suit, but she is a great dancer. And you know what? She bodied this role. Phenomenal work. She's 56. Like, she's 56. What do you mean? Like, who looks like this? Isn't it fascinating that like 10 years ago, everybody was freaking out because she had this insane physique for her age, like they said at the time, and now 10 years later, she looks even better. If they can nominate Emily in Paris for Best Series at the Golden Globes, I think it's only fair that they can nominate Jennifer Lopez at the Oscars for being the most beautiful person to exist on screen this year. It's only fair. And while you're at it, send this to Emilia Paris to show them how not to suck so much. But like, it is an interesting parallel. Kiss of the Spider-Woman was originally written in Spanish, but because it was being censored in his country, it eventually got translated into English. And that translation is what originated the Oscar-winning movie, which then went on to originate the musical. So everything was an adaptation of this professionally translated piece of work. The Spanish script of Emilia Paris was written by a bunch of French people, and Google Translate. And I only bring up Emilia Paris because of the slight similarities in some of the elements of the films. But guess which one isn't getting the attention it deserves? Yeah. Nonetheless, Jennifer Lopez absolutely shines in the roles of Aurora, the character, and Ingrid, the actress that plays Aurora, and the Spider-Woman, this diva right here. What I love about this movie is that what it lacks in budget, it more than makes up for in ambition and creativity. And what the narrative lacks in like clarity and coherence, the movie more than makes up for with visuals and style. Molina says so earlier in the film that she's recounting. No one's ever claimed this to be a perfect movie, but damn, there's so much beauty in it. They also do a really good job at stylizing these two very separate narratives. It's very Sucker Punch. We have the dirty, dark, monotone prison setting that builds this feeling of hopelessness, fear, dread, and the fantastical sequences of the film in Technicolor. And the set design of those sequences is so flamboyant. Like the way these scenes play out, it's so gay. They mix actual sets with stage elements from the theater. It's very Chicago meets cabaret. The choreo is stunning, but the use of color throughout really knocked my ass out because movies today are more washed up than Deborah Messing. Like, bring back color to cinema. And then the wardrobe. Like, are you fucking kidding me? We got this black number. We have this blue number. We have this green number. We have this golden number. They also go a big camp at times. For example, a sequence of these two characters in a car using these old Hollywood tricks to circumvent technological limitations of the time, now being used as stylistic devices. It's just so good. One thing I love is creativity, and one thing this movie does is creativity. This movie's just style on style. Is there substance? Absolutely. It does get overshadowed by the style, because I mean, the style is just injected into my veins right now. That said, it does have its cons, like for example, the story, the two narratives playing, they don't necessarily make the most sense when you're drawing parallels between the two, and I think that was the idea behind it. There were points where I found myself tuning out and just waiting for Jennifer Lopez to pop back up because she really is that girl. It has its flaws, but somehow it feels perfectly imperfect. And it's a shame that it flopped. Nonetheless, I will still be campaigning for Jennifer to get a nomination for the Academy Awards this year. So if you want to join the family and you want to support this woman's right to be seen and heard and rewarded for her continued allyship, just existence in general, then subscribe down below. Once we hit 1 million, we may be able to really enact real change. Thank you. Argentina, May 1983. The military dictatorship is waging a brutal war against political opponents. Over 30,000 citizens have been killed or imprisoned. Girls, it's fucking tough out there. Molina, a window dresser, is arrested for public indecency, and though we get no specifics, it does sound like targeted vitriol masqueraded as a legitimate crime. Molina is placed in a cell with Valentin Arregui, a political dissident who's being interrogated for information pertinent to the revolutionary group he belongs to.
The struggle is not over until all men are free.
Even ridiculous window dressers.
And if you're wondering why everyone's speaking English in an Argentinian prison, girl, it's not commercially viable to force Americans to read when watching a movie. Come on. Also, they torture people here, so it's like Guantanamo Bay Shawshank vibes. I don't know if any of that is correct, but I like the cell. Like, think of it this way. Imagine this story, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, but it's only this setting, these two men in a cell, and it's a theater production that one of your friends drags you to one night. The audience is no more than 30 people, and you spend the next 2 hours listening to two people have the slowest conversations about a made-up movie. Revolutionary. Think about that. And yes, the rumors are right. Their relationship starts off very hostile. Molina loves to talk, and Valentin loves to not. He's also very hesitant to form a real bond with this new cellmate because anyone could be a spy. And they also clash over their differences. Valentin is an activist, a pragmatic fighter who, in his own words, cringes when Molina disparages herself. And though flawed and plagued with some queerphobic sentiment, Valentin is a good guy fighting the good fight and finds Molina's interests frivolous. Molina, on the other hand, is a romantic, an idealist, a dreamer who uses these accoutrements to disguise how little she thinks of herself. Nevertheless, in refusing to succumb to this dark energy, Molina decides to recount her favorite Hollywood silver screen musical.
I hate musicals.
And I pity you.
And we finally get Jennifer Lopez. And I will say, though all the performances throughout the film were good, the movie really is just waiting for her to come back on screen. When recounting the story, Melina casts herself and Valentine in important roles of the film, and the events are supposed to somehow be parallels to reality. And then the parallels start going off the rails, and you know what? Sure. This doth make sense. It starts off narratively okay, and it does present some interesting elements. Like, for example, Aurora is the editor of Charm, South America's most famous fashion magazine. Guys, it seems like we've reached the Devil Wears Prada portion of the film, which, if you think about it, why was she wearing those fucking shoes in the teaser? Product placement. But then it becomes too convoluted for all the details to line up, and it's like, is it perfect? No. Does it have to be? No. Why? Exhibit A. Exhibit B. Exhibit C. See? Okay. And as you may have noticed, the film sequences are Technicolor because somebody on that set had good taste. Give it up for good taste. An opportune moment to mention that some viewers found the differences between both settings to be too much, and that sometimes the transitions felt too jarring and hard to follow. And to those people, I say, grow up. That was the point. Some of you didn't sit through Sucker Punch for the very first time without knowing anything about the story, and it shows. Let's honor these aesthetics. We have Dom Top 69, who lives in a shared house with 5 other people. His bed is a mattress on the floor with no cover, and there's takeout trash on the floor and a stack of plates. You enter the room, and you know the dick's gonna be really good, but the rest, vile. Here, we have the twink, who's no longer a twink, but nobody's told her because honestly, she's not bothering anyone. She's living her fantasy. Like, the colors and the sets are gorgeous. She's just having fun and being playful. And these aesthetics, if you think about it, also mimic the characters. Melina is the flamboyant ray of sunshine waiting for the fairy tale romance to reach her life, and Valentine is the groggy cloud of darkness and pessimism, that friend nobody ever wants to invite but somehow always finds himself there. Just always lingering at parties and gatherings and outside of your house at night. Like, visually, the movie is thematically there. If you have issues with it, grow up. No, I'm joking. Let's actually have civil discourse down below in the comment section. Like, for example, this number right here deserves some attention. Like, this is just insane. The fact that she was allowed to walk into set that day looking like that. Nobody tried to stop her. Nobody even dared approach her at such a level of power, and she just had to humiliate every single person on screen. In fact, she does a 3-minute solo number in this dress, because who else was I looking at? Exactly. She's living her Ray fantasy. She's dancing with all these men. Where the hell is my husband? She can't find him, but she's looking. 56, guys. Like, this should be illegal. I feel sick. In The Kiss of the Spider-Woman, Aurora has never been in love. Melina says she's particular with high standards, but also her psychiatrist thinks her inability to commit to a man is somehow connected to a suppressed memory and the mysterious musical theme that haunts her dreams. Okay, it's getting a little silly. She can't fall in love because she hears a song in her dreams. It haunts her. But one day, everything changes when Aurora meets a mediocre man. A man who Melina casts with Valentine, a photographer who just so happens to be from the same small village Aurora is from. His name is Armando. And then Armando has an ex, and that ex has a new boyfriend called Johnny Desiderio, who's an antagonistic gangster. But back in the real world, we find out Melina was placed in this jail cell to spy for the prison's warden in exchange for early parole. But Melina doesn't seem too keen to help, insisting she is the wrong person for the task and that Valentine will never confide in her. And for a while, Melina is right. Valentine refuses to share personal details at first. They're also getting poisoned by the prison. Yeah, it's one of their torture techniques. So they poison you and then they administer anesthetics to get you addicted to them so your body builds resistance to them so that in the future it hurts more for longer. It's smart, but it's so evil. It's like derangedly, yeah. Okay, but back to why we're watching this film in the first place. Jennifer Lopez in this lesbian jazzy outfit. What a fucking star. This is a little fantasy Melina has when she's struggling to handle her predicament, you know, stuck in prison, forced to spy on political prisoners. It's very Chicago on stage, on screen. Jennifer smoking the cigarette in this outfit. Are you fucking kidding me? And the song is essentially telling Melina to focus on fantasy rather than reality. Denial is a river. And honestly, to all my delusional girlies out there, let's go watch Jennifer Lopez humiliate 30 men on stage.
A movie star.
some people, when they're born, they're just gifted, right? They're just born to do something. This woman was born to perform. Back in the story, Aurora and Armando go back to their home village for a photo shoot, but they're followed by Johnny Desiderio, who hires henchmen to beat up Valentine. It's rivalry over women. Aurora then cares for him, which parallels Molina caring for Valentine, which Valentine imagines is his girlfriend, a woman named Marta. Another beautiful number. This woman does not get tired of looking fucking stunning on stage. It makes me sick. Then we get this beautiful line, flambé de merde. Back with Aurora, who finds out why she's unable to fall in love from the village elder. So, turns out her small village is protected from evil spirits by the Spider Woman, the yassified dominatrix version of Edna Mode. She's a magical creature born of a human mother and an all-powerful forest spirit who vows to protect the village for a price. Once every 10 years, a woman of the village is to offer up the man she loves as a sacrifice, and the spirit shall take them with a kiss. The kiss of the Spider Woman. That's right. Things are getting mystical, paranormal, mythological. Armando is the Spider-Woman's next victim because Aurora is indeed in love with him, and in the prison, Molina dreams of her. An ominous foreshadowing of what's to come. She's just so good. What a star. The bond between Molina and Valentine gets a very big upgrade one day when, because of the pain he's in from the poison, Valentine shits himself. So Molina literally wipes his ass and cleans him up. Like, that's love. Also, going back to my initial point, if this was indeed a theater production, you know, just two people on stage talking for 2 hours, then you'd realize at this point that one of the actors has been walking around with caca in his underpants just for this part to work. Think about that. But did I already mention Jennifer Lopez in this green number? Like, you're welcome. Like, you're welcome. I knew this would brighten your day. Aurora sends Armando away, determined to save him. In the real world, Molina refuses to share any information with the warden, claiming she still hasn't been given any info. And then things escalate. The guards taunt Valentine with one of the other political dissidents, leaving him in fear of death. For the first time, Valentine is truly vulnerable and tells Molina he doesn't want to die. And Molina is there for him, cleaning him up. The intimacy is growing. Back in J-Land. Get it? J-Land. Before Armando leaves, they end up confessing their love for each other for the first time. They can't deny the love that binds them. They might as well escape together. And on their way out, Aurora tells her closeted gay assistant, who Molina earlier cast as herself in the role, that she knows he's the one who betrayed them. So Aurora and Armando escape together, and we get this beautiful little driving scene. And back in the real world, things heat up. Oh, wow. Valentine comforts Molina, and they end up like full on. And this was after we found out earlier in the film that Molina is a virgin. I don't want to be the person, but that's brave. That's brave. I just know that you know what, when you love someone and you've been deprived of human touch, maybe you do want to risk it all. If you know, you know. They experience a beautiful night together. And then the day after, the warden puts a plan in motion. Having seen how Molina seems to be in love with Valentine at this point, the warden signs off on her release, hoping when she is released, she'll pass Valentine's message to his fellow militants. So if they follow Molina as soon as she leaves prison, then they'll be able to find the dissidents. Back in J-Land, Aurora and Armando are confronted by the Spider Woman. The assistant is also there, and in a final act of sacrifice, because the sacrifice is non-negotiable, the assistant offers himself up instead. After all, he also loves Aurora, even if it's not in a romantic way. The assistant is taken by the kiss of the Spider Woman, and despite the loss of her bestie, Aurora begins to smile, and she has her happy ending with Armando. And now that J-Land is officially over, back in the real world, and Molina and Valentine bid farewell by fucking again. Now that they've done it once, you'd leave them two in the cell, and they'd be like rabbits. And then, as they hug goodbye, Molina offers to pass the message on. After reuniting with her mother, Molina ends a sort of relationship she'd been having with a married man, even though they had never been intimate with each other, which is fine. She's at peace with it now that she has known the touch of true love. in prison. She then meets up with the informants to pass on the message and is indeed followed there by the police or the guards or the military. Melina and the man escape, but thinking that she's the one who brought the police with her, shoot her before driving off. And Melina dies off on the floor as she dreams of dancing with Valentine, now the woman she was meant to be. And back in prison, Valentine breaks down reading the news of her death as Melina's performance comes to an end with the kiss of the Spider Woman. Then, in October of 1983, the military regime fell and thousands of political prisoners were released. Among them is Valentine, who in the original source material and the movie dies in prison from his injuries, but in this one is able to breathe freedom once again, thanks to the sacrifice of Melina, who, like the Spider Woman, is now protecting the village. The end. What a treat, guys. What a visual treat. Jennifer just owned the screen so hard, I can't help but stand. Like, every single time she went to work on this film, she said, I'm going to show everyone what it's like to be beautiful and to serve. She was a server, she was a waiter. The entire time she was walking around serving and everybody was eating, everybody was stuffed. She fed a lot of people. People were bountiful. And I sincerely hope that 2026 is the year of the Jennifer Lopez. Everybody say, yes, please. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to leave it a like down below so you can join the family. We are almost at 1 million. I've been saying it for a couple days now, but it's getting truer and truer. So don't stop clicking. And also share, bring people in, and then we can become a community of something. We'll figure it out. Or we'll all be dead in a few years, climate change and all. And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys. Remember a few weeks ago when I said I was working on Dark? I severely underestimated how much work it was going to be. So I am working on it. Just don't expect it this year. But I am working on a few other things. Like, what do we feel about Yellow Jackets? Final season coming next year. Maybe we need a little recap, huh?